Wars craft their own history. People, politics, position and power all come together to create tales of victory, heroism, pain, loss and sacrifice. India's role in World War I scripted many such stories. The context of India's participation in war was political, but the memories are human. Very few Indians of today's generations are aware that more than 1 million Indian soldiers went overseas to fight in World War I. Indian soldiers fought alongside soldiers from Britain, France, Australia and New Zealand. And the comradeship forged in distant lands over 100 years ago have endured the test of time and have lasted to present day. The response to Britain's request for Indian soldiers to fight a war, which was not really India's war, met a positive response from the Indian politicians as a quid pro quo in return of Britain's assurance of increased self-governance for India and the implicit understanding that taking part in this war would facilitate the road to Indian independence. There's a paradox here somewhere. Whereas the first blow for India's freedom was struck by Indian soldier against Britain in India's first war of independence in the year 1857. The second step was to fight for Britain's survival in the Great War of 1914 to 1918. Britain declared war against Germany on 4th August 1914. Soon after, a British expeditionary force of 4 infantry divisions and a cavalry division was sent to France to counter the German offensive. As soon as Britain's request for India to join the war was accepted by the Indian politicians on behalf of the Indian people, an Indian corps of 2 infantry divisions and a cavalry division were mobilized and sent to France to support the Allies. The British Expeditionary Force did a great job in holding superior German forces, but after 2 months of hard fighting, they had suffered very heavy casualties and had reached the end of their capacity to hold on further. It was at this critical juncture that the Indian divisions were thrown in to reinforce the British Expeditionary Force. It is universally accepted that the arrival of Indian divisions helped in stabilizing the line and prevented the Germans from overrunning France and reaching the Channel ports. The Indian forces were, however, not equipped to fight a modern war. They were trained and equipped to fight on northwest frontier against tribal forces. They were therefore ill-equipped and ill-clad to meet the conditions they faced in Europe. They entered the war in mid-September at the onset of a severe European winter, clad in their summer uniforms and equipped with obsolete weapons, yet they fought with distinction, dedication and courage and helped to break up the repeated German assaults. It was for the first time that they faced heavy artillery, gas and chemical warfare, mines, machine guns, grenades, barbed wire and air warfare. By the end of 1915, the British High Command realized that the Indian soldier could be better utilized to fight in terrain and opponents closer to their experience on the northwest frontier, and they were moved to Middle East, where they continued to fight with courage and distinction. More divisions as part of Indian expeditionary forces were sent to Turkey, Persia, Egypt, Palestine and East Africa. By the end of 1918, more than 11 lakh Indian soldiers had served overseas, more than 74,000 were killed and over 1,37,000 were wounded. The battles of Gallipoli and Kut al-Amara were not successful because of poor planning and conduct of these operations. But the Indian soldiers continued to fight with courage and commitment despite many drawbacks. The Indian Army contributed 6 lakh personnel to the Mesopotamian campaign. By the end of it, it had lost 364 Indian officers, 29,191 men. In the campaign, 828 Indian officers and 31,718 men were wounded. They were better led when they formed part of Allenby's forces, and their performance was outstanding. Indian forces were largely used in Allenby's brilliant campaign in Syria and Palestine, and the last cavalry charge in the military history against enemy defences at Haifa were led by Indian cavalry units of Jodhpur and Mysore Lancers. Indian units fought in France, Flanders, Ypres, Neuchâtel, Fetz-Aubret, Givenchy, Laos, Somme, Cambrai, Gallipoli, Nicaea, Ctesiphon, Kut al-Amara, Gaza, Baghdad, Ramadi, Palestine, Megiddo and East Africa. The memory of Indian soldiers who laid down their lives in World War I have been commemorated with honor by memorials throughout the globe. The most important of these include India Gate at New Delhi, Neuchâtel Memorial in France, Menin Gate Memorial in Ypres in Belgium. Another memorial dedicated to soldiers of World War I is named Teen Murti, literally meaning 3 statues, located in New Delhi. It was built in the year 1922 in memory of the Indian soldiers. Memorials, awards and stories of heroism are just symbols of respect, reverence and gratitude. The martyrdom of lives with honor and pride for is truly the supreme sacrifice. Adversity helps in triumph and war leaves its lessons.